Hello, everybody. It's less than 100 days until the election. I should be reelected for one simple and important reason. I'm already here. I'm already here. We are totally moved in. We literally just unpacked the last box on Tuesday. And honestly, moving is a total pain in the ass. Hi, I'm John Domenico. I'm an actor, writer, comedian. I've been performing for over 30 years, and I've been doing Donald Trump since about 2004. I've done a lot of television and film work around the world, and you may have actually seen me. We had such amazing ratings with the briefing show. We had a lot of people, many people watching, more in the history of cable watching. So when you get into Trump, it takes me an hour. The first thing is the wig. And most people, when you're trained to do makeup, you do the makeup first, and then the wig is usually last. I do the reverse only because the wig is such an important element for him, and the coloring of the wig affects the coloring of my face. I like to get that on. Also, it's the longest part of the process because you've got to get it right. You've absolutely got, and even though I've done it thousands of times, it's new every time. Then I age my face, crow's feet, the folds that are here, the folds that are here. I have a very round face. He's a big guy. I mean, he's a really big guy, and he has a big head. My face is round, so I have to contour my nose so it looks longer. So it's all these little detail things, because you're shooting on these cameras, even if it's an iPhone, it's like 4K, and every detail is picked up. The components of a lot of this stuff, a lot of the physicality, that is second nature because I've really worked on it. But his voice is, it is like capricious. It is like sand through my fingers because no one speaks like him. I have his vocabulary is not huge, so that part is easy in a sense. But the way he speaks, one of the things I learned, one of the things you learn in comedy is to kind of keep the pacing up. You want to keep the pace going. And people always there's that YouTube video or wherever you saw it, they're like, you talk too fast. And it's like, I'm doing that on purpose because if I really talked the way that Trump, the way he talks with the talking, the thing that he does where he's talking and, because no one really talks, it's too much. So I have to compress it, but I also have to really hold on to the impersonation. So I'm trying to do a very specific balancing act comedically, but I also want to be as authentic as possible. There's an amorphousness to his, not necessarily his vocabulary, but his vocal tics. There's things that he adds. The day after his inauguration, he went to the CIA and he did a speech. And at that speech, he did something I hadn't seen or really noticed prior. He did this thing. He goes, and yesterday, during the inauguration, I look out. I see millions and millions of people, millions of people.
But we had a massive field of people. You saw that, packed. I get up this morning, I turn on one of the networks, and they show an empty field. I said, wait a minute. I made a speech. I looked out. The field it looked like 1.5 million people. They showed a field where there were practically nobody standing there.
I'm thinking, what is this? So I call that like the Trump whisper thing that he does. And he doesn't do it a lot, but at certain points when he's kind of begging people, there's a lot of stuff that he does is coded, but that's his begging thing, the whispering thing, where you really have to kind of lean into, what's he saying? Trump doesn't Trump. You know, so those are the things I'm constantly paying attention to. You know, he has such very specific physicality, vocal tics. Happy, happy, happy. They didn't know that. And then other people would say birthday, birthday, birthday. But I was the first person to actually take these two different words and put them together. I put these two words together to form happy birthday. You know, when he does an interview with somebody, the Chris Wallace interview, he knew that was going to be a hardball interview. So if you notice when he sits, he puts his hands right in front of his family jewels. He literally protects himself.
We have the 7th highest mortality rate in the world. Our mortality rate is higher than Brazil.
It's almost primitive in the way that he leans in, closes the amount of space that you can punch him, so to speak. He's very much like this, you know, Chris. That's not true. That's not true. Get the papers. Get the papers. That's not true. We've got the lowest death rate in the world. So he's very defensive in those modes. And if he has to be defensive, it's tougher for him to be offensive. So, and there's other times when it's just right out of the gate offensive, which I'm sure you've seen. Like with Angela Merkel. So I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. It's the other people that are the problem. When I started appearing back on Fox News again in 2015 and 2016, I ran into Kellyanne Conway. And she said, "Oh my God, can I get a selfie with you? He loves you. He says you're the nice Trump." So she basically confirmed. I mean, I already knew he knew who I was because I was on Fox constantly. So, you know, I knew I had to have been approved by somebody. And I'm very, very happy about that. And no one's thanked me. You know, no one's thanked me for doing this incredible thing. But I don't need thanks. And I don't want to go too far, too fantastical with what I write. So I try to be just a little ahead of him. But a lot of the stuff I would say, people, you could actually think, yeah, he'd actually say that. He'd probably say that. So I'm always walking that fine line of playing him because I want to be far enough ahead where it's funny. But if I go too far, it's too fantastical. So it's always a balancing act with him. But you know, when I did the video, the extremely negative video, you know, it was so negative, it was positive. Like 2 months later, he said the same exact thing that I said.
I'm still here, and I tested very positively in another sense. So this morning, yeah, I tested positively toward negative, right? So, no, I tested perfectly this morning.
It was perfect. It was perfectly negative, tremendously negative. Actually, they've never seen a test this negative before in history. And my doctor, he said it best. It was the greatest negative score of anyone who's ever taken the coronavirus test. That's happened like 5 times. Like something I said months before, like I was using, I can prove this. I was using the Kung flu back in March. The Chinese virus has got to go, and the virus entered this country illegally, so we're looking to have it deported. We're also looking at legal remedies. Yes, we are going to sue the Kung flu. Sue the Kung flu. Well, I like the way that sounds. Doctor, do you like that? I like that. He never said Kung flu, never said, and then all of a sudden he started saying Kung flu. And I'd already been saying it.
It's a disease, without question, has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung flu. I can name 19 different versions of names.
I just thought, this is hilarious. This guy's like stealing my act. Oh, you know, I say it, I get a lot of crap. I get a lot of crap when I say it. I don't think that's fair. People said it was insensitive. It's just, you know, I was just repeating the Dalai Lama, which is great. But I was like, wow, I'm really going to be in a great position here. But conversely, at the same time, having had followed Trump for so long, I knew what a lot of his policies were going to be. I also knew, because there's a stack of books here. I've read every single book on the guy. He's never worked for anyone. He's never had a job. He's never had to answer to anyone, and he's never had any accountability. And I also knew that he perceived the presidency as almost like a monarchy. I was pretty, because I spent a year as an intern for the United States Senator, and I know how this country runs. I was pretty sure he didn't know about co-equal branches of government. And it turns out he didn't.
I was just told that Congress is a co-equal branch of government. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Co-equal, right? I'm the president. Congress is equal to me. Then what's the point of being the commander-in-chief?
Because I understand who he is. I totally get it. I had older parents. When I was born, my dad was 40. He was a World War II veteran. And there are certain things about him, even though he comes from a wealthy family, there were certain personality things about him that I totally get. My mom had some narcissistic issues, so I can totally relate to those type of things. And there are parts of my personality that I have in a healthy way dealt with.
And I have mental health like nobody else has mental health. Like I have serious mentalness.
And also I have a short fuse. I get angry very easily and frustrated very easily. So all of these things kind of play into I have a really solid understanding of who he is externally. I don't know what's going on in his mind. I have to make those judgments and I have to make those calculations and speculation to write the material. But I think it's very interesting that multiple times now, things that I've wrote or said, he's ended up saying. So I'm on the right track.
China's doing very poorly on this graph, and we're doing very well.
I may disagree with a policy or something, but for him as a person, I'm trying to like playing him, keep that connection of, I like this guy, and find those things you like in the character. That kind of buoys the performance.
I get along with him, except when I don't, and I agree with him when he's right, but when he's not, I say wrong.
But if I can just approach it objectively, comedically, but objectively, I think I can keep it my audience a little broader. Because I do love when people comment on YouTube or Facebook and say, I'm a pro-Trump person, but damn, this is funny. That to me, that's almost like the highest compliment. Like they're getting it. Like I'm not bashing the guy. I just want to show the craziness of some of the things that he does. Oh, a lot of the things that he does.
That's stupid. That's really, really stupid. All right. The fake news. You people are horrible. You're horrible. I was being sarcastic. Okay. All right. But if it works, I think we should check on it.
Trump has a core group of people who absolutely love him. I mean, I've never seen this in my life as an American, where we have a cult of personality, which is so defined that this guy will be revered and loved and an object of adulation for until he passes away, and even beyond that. I mean, I will be working as Trump beyond his lifetime because they love this guy. And this is a core group of Americans, I would say easily 50, 60, 70 million. I don't know what the exact number is, but this is a big number. And you can see the turnouts. You can see these people at the rallies and then the business people and whoever they are. So I think if he doesn't win, I'm fine. If he does win, I'm fine, either way. So, and it's going to be, probably be a close election, but he'll probably squeak it out some way, because he is the incumbent. It would be very interesting if he doesn't win. That'll be interesting to see him leaving office if he's willing to leave.
It's going to be fraud like you've never seen. Honestly,
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And it hasn't even happened yet, and it's a disgrace already. That's how disgraceful it is. It's like an advanced disgrace. And if for some reason the election does happen because of the Democrats, I plan on suing every single person who doesn't vote for me. You got it?